Hi everyone and welcome back to Aid's Workshop. So this week's instalment, we have got a bit of machining this time, but I've tried to mix up the flavour of these videos. So mini lathe, we're going to make something for that. More on the reorganisation, so I'm not showing you me doing that. It's a bit of carpentry. Yeah, we're metal scratchers, not wood cutters. Although we do a bit of that as well. So anyway, I'll show you where I've got to, and then we're going to move on, and I'm basically going to annotate what I'm doing mostly as I go along making something for the mini lathe. And we do actually get to do some turning on the mini lathe, which is great. So anyway, short episode this week, guys. We've been the weather has been appalling. I've been busy in work. I haven't been able to get out the shed. Have a couple of people off in work, so you know it's been a bit manic covering. Anyway, so with that said, short video this week. We'll see you at the end. So moving on from last week, I've just placed the drill press between the mill and the mini lathe. Now the mill table will come under here, but I think for storage I'll just turn it 90 degrees and push it back against the wall, and then if I want to use the drill, you know, I can have it set up with a countersink in it, for instance, or you know, for deburring or what have you, just you know, swapping back and forth from the mill for a source of drilling. So I think I need to start using the drill more. If I'm not going to use it, then it's got no place in the shed, but yeah, I will use it. I think I do need to start using it more. So needs a bit of a clean up. I mean, it's you know, it's got a bit of a coating of rust and what have you, but I've just plugged it in, tried it, it's still working perfectly fine. So what that leaves is this corner, this area, so up here above the drill is a DRO. Now I'll bring you over there and show you how cluttered it is. So yeah, that does want to clean up, but it does fit in there, and I'm going to put it back against the wall. Now the whole area here, sort of above the mini lathe then, is getting a bit cluttered. I've just swung the DRO back over there, but it does fit above the drill, but obviously you couldn't change speeds on the drill with a DRO on top of it. So yeah, so it's all a bit cluttered. However, if I look over this side, the other side of the mill, by the door here, it's dead space. There's nothing there. So it's going to take a bit of getting used to for me to have the DRO on the other side, but I just as well use that space for the DRO and then free up a lot more wall space or area on this side. Yeah, there's a lot going on above the mini lathe. So yeah, I'm going to move the DRO. So I haven't tightened anything up yet, but I've just moved the bracket to the other side and bolted it onto that door pillar, which is more than strong enough. There's no weight in the DRO. But I think that bracket coming away from the wall is about twice as long as it needs to be. I think I would rather the DRO back here somewhere. Yeah, somewhere around. In fact, there's no reason it couldn't go there. So I think I'm going to cut this bracket, maybe cut it here. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I'll mark it out, put a mark on it, and I think the DRO is going to go way back there, I think. In fact, I can't go too far back because of the wiring. Plenty of room to get to my light switch. Yeah, that's going to be up there a bit more. I think that's a lot better. And I can reach it and I can see it and it's out of the dirt. So yeah, I'll put some marks on here. I'm going to cut this to length, drill a new hole in it. Yeah, we'll shorten that up. So I simply cut it in half, or just shorter than half with a hacksaw. And just go back just a touch. Deburred the end, filed it up. Now these are M8 bolts in here, and the whole original holes are way oversized. So I'm just going to put a quill stop. Put an 8mm hole in. Not quite deep enough. A little bit deeper, maybe 8. I think I'm on the end of my travel there. Yeah. Okay, let's just come down half a wind. Make sure I'm right through. Yes, now I am definitely. Okay, so I'll deburr that. Probably, what shall I use for that? Noga. Where's the Noga? Let's have it out of there. Okay, I'll try the bolt in there first. Oh, I tell you what I should have done is pop that plastic plug back out. That's the plug I fitted back in. Just get the swarf out of there first. And there we are, that looks neat. Got its plug back in the end. So we'll refit that and see how it looks now. Okay, happy with that. That's a lot better. It's still up out the way. I may be able to move it over. Let's have a look. Try not to move the camera. So in the way of the handle there. Yeah, that's a good location. So what I'll do is I'll in fact may even put it more like that. Oh, that's an idea. Somewhere like there. Still in the way of the handle. I can play with that. Let's get the wiring all rerouted and get it up and running again. Alright, so that's the DRO, all up, running, fitted, working again. There was enough room for the wires, obviously, the cables and what have you. And yeah, so that has freed up room on the other side. Okay, so yeah, it looks weird without the DRO there. I need to tidy up the remnants of those wires because that's the route in there, those cup hooks on the wall. You can see the black cable on. The black cable is a power supply for the mill. That needs to be rerouted somehow. Yeah, I'm going to have a play about with what's plugged in where here, I think. So carrying on with the organising, I now have a tool shelf for the tools above the lathe here. There's a nice deep lip on the shelf so that it can slide off, and it's basically screwed on with some timber. That's what I was waiting on, was some appropriately sized timber. I did manage to source some, shall we say. So yeah, I've got all the lathe tools that are going with the mini lathe are going to be kept up there. I may drill some holes further up towards the corner there to keep what is currently the sloppy shelf, because that's the tailstock end of the Walco lathe. It would be an ideal place to put those at the tailstock end, which will be up on that shelf in perhaps some holes in there. So yeah, we'll see how we get on. The only other thing I'm going to need, now that I haven't got the drill in that corner, is I haven't got an ideal spot to locate the vise that you can see there, to clamp it on to get the viewing angle for this lathe, for the camera. So I've been thinking of having something, you know, bolted on, just a bracket there, something I can clamp to, you know, almost like an angle bracket sticking out off that whiteboard, just to be able to clamp that camera or that vise for the camera on. Yeah, I'll have a look at that, have a think. Good Lord, we have a new visitor. I think we shall call him Harry. Harry the Spider. So we were talking about putting a bracket on the wall up there. I think what I'm going to do is get some melamine boarding, like 10 inch, 12 inch wide, to put up there and make some more shelves up there, because it's wasted space. Stuff I very rarely use can go up there, out the way, tucked away in the corner, and it'll free up more space for the stuff I use regularly in the toolboxes. However, I haven't got a place, obviously, to film on the mini lathe or on the Walco as yet, but I've noticed that if I put the tailstock on the end, the vise will actually sit on the tailstock. Don't think I'm going to be using the tailstock all that often when I'm on this machine, although I will be using it, but that's so a temporary ploy, as it were, so I may have to rig something up here. Again, the drill is there, I could mount it on there as well, or make another bracket, but something on the mini lathe has come to my attention, and I think it's going to be a source of annoyance. Let me see if I can come round the camera without disturbing it, because there's not a lot of room to walk around in the shed here. Okay, so I've just put a piece of brass bar up in here, and I've noticed that I've got my spanner, you know, which I use all the time, but I'm going to have to like have an Allen key or something like that. There's nothing to grip the collet on. It's just a 6mm Allen key, fits in there nicely, and it's a source of something to tighten it up. However, I don't like that, and I'm thinking of a bracket on the head here with a drop pin, you know, with a lock, so that I can just index round and drop a pin in on a spring. So let's have a bit of a design and see what I can make to do that. Now the tricky bit is bolting it on the top. It's going to involve drilling and tapping some holes in this headstock. If they're out here somewhere, it's not going to cause me an issue, you know, on the outsides. Obviously if I come further in, it's going to cause an issue with the internals. So yeah, there's no problem having tapped holes on the corner. So I'll have to think about a design for that. Let's make something. We haven't made anything in a while. So the knob for the potentiometer to alter the speed on the mini lathe is an awful plastic Bakelite thing. So let's make a little ornate knob. That's probably not a good title for a video, but anyway, right, okay, so with that said, I have roughed out a piece of aluminium. It's about twice as long as you can see sticking out. This is about 22mm, and the back end that's in the chuck here is 20mm. So I roughed that out on the Walco. So I've got a roughed out piece for the mini lathe. Yeah, somebody asked on the back of last week's why have we got two lathes. Very much the Walco is for roughing out. I don't think I've ever put it in high gear, so like 1500 RPMs flat out. This lathe, with a little bit of tweaking, in fact it only takes a couple of seconds on the inverter. I've got a speed range, and if I just plug it in would be a good idea. Let's switch it off again. I got a speed range, you know, 3000 or more RPM, but for its standard hertz, so 0 hertz is there, and it'll run anywhere. So it's got an acceleration time. So as I've got it set at the moment at 65 hertz, I'm running at 1500 revs. All I've got to do is adjust the hertz up, and I can go up 2000, 2500. It doesn't take seconds to do. So yeah, I mean, that's the reason why I've got two. I've got a high speed lathe for small delicate work, and the bearings are all very good, and it's not, as I've always said, it's not going to do a lot of work. And then I've got the Walco, which does everything, as well as this, but it means I haven't got to break setups down. You know, I could set this for high speed permanently. Anyway, I'm going to see how useful it becomes moving forward, but I've spent all this time and effort building it up. I just as well use it. I might find in a year's time I want to sell it or get rid of it or whatever, but for now we're good. So yeah, I've got this knob here, which it's roughly the same. Oh, actually, I think just a clean up cut on there will do me. Right, okay. So first thing, we haven't seen a lot of action on this mini lathe, so let's throw in a little bit. So yeah, a clean up cut on this diameter first of all. So let's see how we get on. Here's a touch. Let's turn my DROs on, which are now working. That's interesting. They do stay up there, stay at the readings that they were on. Let's turn the feed on. Let's have a look how fast we're going. Okay. Yeah, I didn't realise those DROs would stay at the same reading as they were when you switched them off. So that's interesting. That means I could set some datums and it would still be there when I come back. Okay. Oh, that finish is absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, the head bearings have made quite a difference. That finish is astonishing. Yeah, okay, compared to my previous experience of mini lathes. Let's just do a touch off on the face. Let's face it. Okay, so I think I want to reduce this diameter down, not by a huge amount, because I am going to put some scallops in it. 1.5 a side maybe. Okay, let's set 0 on the readout. Let's go for, I think these read direct, so that's a mil. Let's just see. No, that's 0, mate. That's a mil. Okay. And how far back should we go? Let's have a look at the original. Let's say there. Right, more up on that diameter. It doesn't look right. Go another mil. Okay, let's run that up to feed. I do need to adjust the gib on the cross slide on this. I've just finger tightened the grub screws down off the gib, but I think I do need to set that, so there may be a bit of finagling with that as we go along. Okay, how does that look? I think maybe another ½ mil. So 2.5 on the DRO. That's another ½ mil aside. This just behaves beautifully now. It's down to the head bearings, guys. If there's one improvement to do on the mini lathe, I think it is those, changing those bearings. As I did, if you look back in the series, you will see all the details of what I used and what have you. So that's step 1. Right then, so I'm going to put some scallops in these at some point with a ball nose cutter. I think I need a cut of 40, well certainly a 45 down there in the bottom. Where's my cutter? I could probably use that one. No, I can't. I haven't got a cutter set up for this. I've got this cutter, but it's got the wrong tip in for aluminium, but I bet it'll work. Which is the one I've set up in the lathe. I haven't set centre or anything with it, but have a quick look. I don't think that's too far away. You're right for the purposes of this. Okay, let's have something on the top. Nice big one. Okay, well that's a start. So I think what I'm going to do, let's have a think about this, because I need to put a hole up the middle, but I don't want to hold it coming right through. I think I can do that from the back afterwards, holding it on this major diameter. But then if I don't put too many grooves in the circumference of here, I can probably hold that in the chuck as well. Right, let's have a look and get a nice diameter for a collet. So I don't know what diameter that is. 16.85. That'll go in a 17mm collet, okay. Yeah, without too much spring, you know. So right, that's step 1. So I know I can use this collet with a collet block and go to the mill. So I think that'll be the next job. Will it, won't it? I could hold on that diameter now, turn it around, and then drill the hole out for the spigot now, obviously not the whole way. You know, I think that's probably the better idea, and that way I haven't got a hold on the machined or splined or scalloped part. So let's have a look. Let's turn that feed off. Yeah, so if I turn around and hold on that, so change collet, let me find the right one and I'll come back. Okay, so hit it first time, fits in the collet nicely, so let's Make sure we got no dirt up the chuff. Yeah, I think, as I mentioned earlier, I think having something that'll drop in there, I think would be a good idea for the meantime. Or yeah, or would it? I don't know. I mean, that's in there, that's tight. For the meantime, oh, there's a centre in there. Well, it doesn't do anything. Is that running true? First question. It's not. Let's have it off. Let's pull that off. So this was a piece of scrap aluminium that I've, well, not really any aluminium scrap, but a piece of previously used bar that it was enough of a suitable diameter. I just roughed it out. In fact, I took about 6mm off the OD to bring it down to that 22, about 20mm. You know, the spigot of that centre's actually running true. Okay, I'll leave it there. Right, I'm going to drill it out and let's see what size it needs to be. Let's have a look at the original. So that's a plain hole, and the hole size is 6.1 and the spline is 6mm. I think I will drill and ream at 6mm. Drill it 6mm. I could probably get away with drilling that 6mm for what it is. Okay, so if I'm going to be using the drill, I need to remove the camera from where it's bolted that I showed earlier on the back of the tailstock. Have I? Yeah, I have. I got to remove it. So I'll drill this out off camera and then we'll go to the mill. Okay, so it's got a hole up it now, and I put it, and I've just tightened the collet, but I put it in a hexagon collet block. So with that said, we're on the mill. Let's put it in the vise. Let's put it, I think we'll put it, okay, two ways you can put the collet block. You can put it point sides down and grab it on the flats, or you can put it flat side down, grab it on the points. I'm going to put it point side down, grab it on the flats. So what I'm going to do is hold down in the vise and push it back against the collet nut, and I'll do that every time I turn it, and I'll have a fixed length, like using a vise stop in effect, but the nut is acting as a vise stop. So yeah, we've gone to the camera's in that vise that's on the end of the mini lathe, clamped to the tailstock. So we're doing a different view. I normally typically view from this end on a tripod, but that's something different. So what we want is some sort of ball nose cutter. So let me have a look, see what I got. So I've got a 6mm ball nose, 4 flute. Let me look. Yeah. Or I have got a 2 flute one, about 4mm of dubious origin, which it looks okay on the end. You know what I might do? Let's run that 4mm. Let's have a... I'm just looking what it looks like. I'm going to try the 4 flute, the 6mm, and we're going to put 6 grooves in it. So, by the collet, where are you? There you go, got a collet. Collet nut, thank you very much. Right, up we go, into the mill. Let's put these in. Oh, I'm jumping ahead of myself, aren't I? I need to find centre this way. Yeah. It's a ball end. I'll do it with a rule. I'll do the Bushman's method, as it's not physically doing anything. It's a beautification, as it were. So there's nothing running in it. There's no dimensions. Yeah. So sometimes, you know, you've got to think. I'm doing this in opposite hands. You know what? I never do that. Right. Okay. Isn't it weird how you get used to doing something a particular way, and then if you swap them round it feels all weird. So I have got to bring the head of the mill down Oh, make sure there's no locks on them, we're alright. Coming into view. Oh, it's in view. Okay, let's just turn that off. Why is that not turned off? Because I swapped it in the opposite direction. Right, okay. Let's get somewhere near 6-inch rule. Bushman's method. I'm not even looking on the end, that's way out. Let's have a look there somewhere. I need to go back touch. Bring up rule level. That looks level to me. Okay, so yeah, very quick method. You saw then the rule moving. Very, very quick and dirty method of getting in the middle. So I am now going to lock my y-axis, and that's my starting point. Right, okay, let me get an end position so that I don't machine into the flange. So let's just again visualize that. I can't come closer than that. I'm going to say it's there. So on my DRO I'm going to set X0, Y0, Z0. Okay, so I know when I'm cutting I'm going to be feeding the part in this direction towards you, and I stop at 0. So let's bring the head down a bit more now. Okay, and lock the head. So let's come down for a touch, and if you scroll down till I hear something. I didn't hear it, but it's touching. Okay, let's go back up a touch. We'll do that again. Because if I decide to go, there we go, that's touching there, set a 0. So if I decide to go 12 points for instance, at the moment I'm going to get 6 scallops, but if I wanted to do 12 by going intermediate I need to know how deep I went. So I'll tell you what, let's try a mill cut 1.06, let's see what that looks like. What speed are we doing? Go a bit faster with carbide on aluminium at the end of the day. 1200 RPM. And I'm going to stop at 0 in X, which I'm looking at my new position DRO, which already seems a bit weird. Okay. So that was 1 mil. Let's try 1.5. Oh, overshot it. 1.5, let's have a look. I think 2. Gonna call it 2 mil. And on subsequent cuts, I reckon, taking it nice and easy, I can leave it locked there. I'm going to set feed speed. And on the subsequent ones, I'm going to feed back out at that speed in that direction. Right, okay. Stop. Let's get rid of any dirt we got about. take that out of ice. I'm going to have a quick shifty. We were point down, I'll remember that. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, so index round, point down, just did that one. That one, back against the shoulder. Am I going to be brave and doing one cut? Tell you what, that's 2mm total depth to cut. I'll wind back up to 1.5. We'll do it in 2. Just to keep the finish consistent. You know what, it doesn't mind that at all. Into my 0. There's a little bit of jumping about there, so maybe this is the method. Take a final 0.5mm down to 2mm depth. Into my 0. Right, turn my feed on and feed it back out, which will give a more consistent finish because I was hand winding in. That's 2. Let's bring you in a bit closer. See if I can do it without jiggling the camera too much. Nope. Sorry guys. Right. Yeah, there we are. You're a bit closer. Give myself a bit more room this time. So I am going to leave it on that setting this time. I'm going to try and do it in 1 cut. So outward apart, flicking round 1, back in, against the stop, tighten the vise. Number 3. Let's do it under feed. I've got a nice slow feed set there. Seems nice. Stop the feed point 3 away from the end. Reverse the feed, come back out. Let's have a look. I think that amount of groove's going to do me. That'll be nice and tactile in the fingers, I think. What's the word when something suits the human body or the human ergonomic? That's it. Should be nice and ergonomic. Okay. And feed. Okay. Yeah, you can see guys, I think that will do me. That looks quite nice. All I need to do now is put it back up in the lathe, in the collet, and face off the bit that's in the chuck. I do need to drill and tap a hole in it to hold it onto the machine, a little tapped hole. Right, let's do that now. If I took one of these spaces, in fact, if I go on a flat, I should be between 2. Let's do this. I'll be between 2 scallops, and I'm going to have to pull it out in the collet a bit, aren't I? Okay, I can still do that. Yeah, I think I'll drill and tap the hole in it before I take it out of the collet. Can I get... Let's take the head up. Right, so drill chuck in here now, which is here. Need a 12mm collet for that, which is that one. Okay, so collet at the ready. Drill chuck. Tighten the collet. Get the spanners in the right hands. Okay, so I'm talking as I'm going along this time, not explaining what I'm doing, something slightly different to my normal sort of format. I think M4 grub screw. What was in the original? Let's have a look. Yeah. Oh, there was 2 of them in there. Why? Okay, yeah, I think M4, M3. I have got M3 grub screws. M3, Zeus book. M3. Let's have a look. Where's my Zeus book? Oh, I tell you what. With all this reshuffling, I've just don't know where anything is. Right, M3. Another thread I use all the time. I'm going to say it's 2.5, but I could be wrong. It could be 2.4. M3 tapping drill is a 2.5. Yes, okay, it is a 2.5. I was questioning myself, that's why I went for the book. So, 2.5 drill. I think we'll be able to get this to self-start without any centering or what have you. I am already on centre. We did that earlier. Let's bring that down somewhere near, and then I can try and find the middle of the flange. Oh yeah, the middle of the flange. Okay, does that look right? That's not on centre. Have I moved it? No. Why is it not on centre? Ah! Because I've rotated the block and I've now got the point against the back face instead of the flat, which means the whole block's moved this way. So, what I'm going to have to do is put it on centre. Right, let's have a look. Let's loosen everything off here. That could have caught me out, couldn't it? Oh, I didn't do a bad job first time then. That way a touch, I think. No, too much. We got it. I can go that way a touch in X. Okay, that'll do me. Speed this monkey up. Okay. And that'll go down into the 6mm hole in the bore. I will hand tap this. Here we are, we're in. Yeah, okay. So that's going to be good. Tapped M3 for a grub screw. Put that drill away, take that out, chuck, face the back off it. And I think we'll leave you there for the moment. You don't want to see me tapping the hole by hand. We'll bring you back when we're somewhere near. We're going to stop here. We'll go there. There's a 0. Let's just see how this behaves. Yeah, that judder was the Gibbs on the cross slide. The tool took a little dive. Not only a little bit, but because I was over exuberant. I haven't set a parting tool up for this yet. Normally I would part this off. I haven't tried parting in it yet. You've seen every cut I've done on this pretty much. It's nice to be using the mini lathe though. You know, we made a start, we're using it. Oh, I've forgotten we got a whole... Oh, you see, take it gently, eh? Yeah, those gibs definitely want to... Ah, he's done it again. My own fault. Being juddery with the feed I am, because I'm feeding by hand. I'm not used to this little hand wheel yet. It's trying to catch me out, isn't it? Let's get a little tiny tube now. Okay, let's base this off. Oh, question again. Somebody asked me on a comment, I think they were machining 70mm diameter cast iron and trying to face it, and what was happening was, well, from the way they described it, let's just, right, imagine this was 70mm diameter. If they put their straight edge or rule across the centre, it was domed and the rule would rock. If they went off centre, it was nice and flat. And a few things can cause that. What I'm thinking is that if the tool isn't on centre, first of all, it will be greatly loaded as you get down to the smaller diameters in the middle, you know, because it's, and will tend to try and push off. Again, as you get down to smaller diameters, the surface speed a minute changes unless you speed up as you go down. So I'll just give a, should we do that? Should we do that? Yeah, why not? I mean, the change in diameter here is very little, but so if I just try and, so if I'm facing down, you'll hear, and then as we start to reduce, wind up on the potentiometer to keep that consistent surface speed, or surface speed there. Anyway, that's not touching, but never mind. But that, you know, that would help. Because obviously, if you're running at the same feed rate, but the amount of material presenting itself to the tool is slowing down in its RPM, then the load is going to increase and you'll get a push off. But there's lots of things. Gibs, tool wear on cast, you know, is a factor. Lots of things. But so I did answer the question with what, you know, pretty much the things I've just said now, the common things. But yeah, there's lots of things can cause that. But the fact that, you know, if you just went off centre with a rule, he said it was flat, and it was only if he was on going through the centre that this problem arose. I think tool height and RPM, tool wear, sharpness of the tool, all sorts. Are we there? Are we there yet? I think I want a no-go. So at least when I am ramming it, I'm doing something. So let's mixing it up a bit. Let's slow down. Here we are. That works lovely, that. I should have got one of that style deburrers a long time ago. I've got one now. Quite like it. I think, other than tapping that hole, we now have a new knob. And I'm going to pull it out of there. I haven't tapped it yet. And we're going to put it where it's going to live, and I'll show it to you. Okay, so there's the new knob in position. Take him off. There's the original. So the stick up is just the same as it was. Yeah, horrible black plastic one. Nice shiny serrated aluminium one, much nicer. So something of note, subscribers wise, I did touch on it in the video, we are 14,910. that was this morning. So subscribe, guys, it costs nothing. Push that subscribe button if you want to see more. And I can see there's been quite a few, like 150 this month or in the last 28 days, so welcome to all you new subscribers. And if you're teetering on the edge, it costs nothing. Push that subscribe, push the bell, push the notification bell, and then anytime I put a video up, you'll get a notification when you're on YouTube. But the more subscribers the better, also I'm told. I know view time helps as well, so you know, I try and put stuff all the way through my videos to make it interesting to the end. Some people click on, watch 30 seconds, say it's not for me, and click off. Well, that's fine, I do it myself on other videos, as it were, or things that might catch my eye on YouTube, and I'll click on it. 30 seconds in, I'll go, nah, it's not what I thought. It was a great thumbnail, I thought, oh yeah, let's have a look, but nah, you know. And anyway, as I agreed, my channel isn't for everyone. It's quite niche, this home machining, model engineering, mini lathes, bench top mill world. So we're never going to be 1 million subscribers, let's put it that way. But every little helps. So if you're any indecision at all, please, 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 let's get to that 15,000, you know, let's set a target of 2 weeks to get another 90 maybe, you know, that would be absolutely great. You know, by the end of November would be wonderful to get to 15,000, so give it a go, guys. Hit that subscribe button. Anyway, with that said, enough begging from me. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you all very soon. Cheers now.